When we take a look at listening, one of the things that often comes up is the old adage that you were given 2 ears and one mouth for a reason, so that you could listen twice as much as you speak. In all honesty, if you are only speaking half as much as you're listening, you still need to shut up and listen. The fact is, we listen most of the time when it comes to communicating. Even if you're only communicating with one person, it would be 50% of the time. But you don't. We communicate with lots of groups of people. And when it comes to public speaking, it's not always going to be you being the one giving the speech. You're going to have to listen to a lot of presentations and speeches. And so listening is a very important skill for us to learn. Now, the first thing to cover is that listening is not the same thing as hearing. Hearing is a biological function where vibrations in the air, or if you're underwater, in the water, vibrate your eardrum, which wiggles the 3 smallest bones in your body, and they tap on your auditory nerve. Now, what you do with that afterwards, that's listening. All right? But listening isn't just involve hearing. It involves all our senses. It involves sight, looking at the facial expressions of someone to determine what their emotional state is. It includes feeling someone as they hug you and then smelling them and realize they need to take a bath. And I guess if you're cooking with Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen, it might even involve taste. Though please don't lick the other chefs. That will get you thrown off of Hell's Kitchen. All right. The fact is, listening is a mental process, and a mental process that includes more than just your ears. It includes all your senses that you be using to communicate, both verbally and non-verbally. All right. Unfortunately, we're kind of bad at it. Fortunately, because it's a mental process, we can get better. Like almost every mental process, including addition and subtraction, we can practice and get better. To begin with, we need to understand what we're doing with. So when we talk about listening, the most minimal thing is something called pseudo-listening or fake listening. It's something you're probably very good at. You've probably found yourself in class staring at your teacher and then realizing you really haven't been paying attention. That's pseudo-listening. You also do it on the phone. Someone calls you, you're watching television, you'd really rather keep watching your show, and so you do, and you just kind of go, yeah, That's pseudo-listening too. You're giving the impression you're paying attention when you're not. Obviously, not very good. The other thing, though, is even when we're listening, we're often doing what's called passive listening, which is just kind of being a sponge and soaking up the sounds, okay? And there's nothing wrong with passive listening, especially when it's for enjoyment, all right? I don't expect you to watch your favorite TV show very actively. I assume you to be a sponge and just absorb it. I mean, let's face it, that's why dumb television like Jackass or Looking for Sasquatch exists. So we can sit down and not think about it and just be a sponge. So yes, it's okay. It's great when you're hanging out with friends. Enjoy your friends. Listen to their funny story. And if you forget it, cool, because when they tell it to you again, it'll still be funny. But sometimes listening is very important, like in class, at work, when your mom is telling you something you need to do, or your wife or husband. Listening then needs to be an active process that takes effort, all right? And it does. If any of you have ever had 3 classes you had to take in one day in college, think about how tough that was. Or even worse, if you had to take 4. Think about at the end of the day, you were probably felt tired, even though most of the day you were sitting on your butt, not moving at all. The fact is your brain was tired because listening takes effort, all right? We were not created to listen in increments of hours, because when we first evolved, that's not what we had to do. We had to listen in short spurts to the things that were in front of us, not for hours on hand. Okay? And that's why it can be hard, and that's why it takes effort. But realizing it's hard and it takes effort is the first step to doing it better.